In my hot little hands, I have the BC06R rechargeable taillight from Fenix Lighting. And today we're going to go over its features, run times, we're going to have a burn test, as well as who I think this light is made for. So let's see what this light is all about. Today I have the Fenix BC06R rechargeable taillight. This taillight is fairly small, fairly lightweight, very bright, and has a few different runtime modes. So this taillight is meant to mount onto your seat post, and it comes with the mounting hardware, which looks like this, and a silicone strap that's meant to go around the seat posts. It also comes with a mount for your saddle rails if you'd like to go that route. I've also experimented on mounting it on my seat stay since my saddles and seat posts usually aren't available because I've got a saddle bag on there. Once the mounting hardware is on, you place the light onto the mount and make a quarter turn, and that will lock in the actual light onto your bike. The quick release locking mechanism is very similar to what you find on a garment unit, but they are not compatible. That I checked. Using the light is really simple. It only has one button on top, and that controls all the features of the light. If we click the light once, it will just give us the battery level indicator. And this battery level indicator will glow green when it has charge, or it will blink red when you need to recharge the light. And pressing and holding that same button will actually turn on the light. So what we're looking at right now is the solid beam in the center and a rotating disc. This is in 10 lumens. If we click it, we'll get a solid 10 lumen beam. Click it again, we'll get a slow flash, again in 10 lumens. Click it again, we'll have a quick flash in 10 lumens. Click it again, and we'll have a solid beam now in 30, a slow flash in 30, and a quick flash in 30. And I'm going to turn it off just by pressing and holding that power button again. So those are all the run modes of the BC06R rear light, save for one. This rear light also has the ability to sense braking. If it senses a sudden change in acceleration from braking, it'll actually get brighter. And that's actually a really cool feature, since it allows the people behind you, be them in a car or on another bicycle, to kind of understand what your intentions are at that exact moment. Okay, so let's see if we can emulate. So I'm going along, and I stop. So that's kind of how it works. And that feature actually works really well when you're riding your bike at night. I had someone follow me while I rode a bike in the neighborhood and made a bunch of turns while stopping beforehand, and it lights up really well. Having used this for a couple weeks now, I find that the beam that this throws out is very bright and actually very wide, which means that someone doesn't actually have to be right in back of me to actually see my rear blinking light, which is great. You know, I like when things work as intended, right? Fenix Lighting specs the run times to be between 5.5 hours to 24.5 hours, depending on the run modes that you pick. So that bright 30 lumen solid run mode is going to last around 5.5 hours. The fast flash at 10 lumens is what's spec'd for around 24.5 hours. And I also did my own burn time test to see if they'd corroborate what Fenix Lighting has spec'd. And for that test, I used the solid 30 lumen runtime mode, which should last around 5.5 hours. And in my test, it lasted around 4.5 hours, which means that the runtime lengths that Fenix Lighting themselves are advertising in their marketing copy is just maybe a little optimistic, which itself really isn't out of the ordinary. And of course, your mileage may vary. So this light is rechargeable. It has an internal 560 milliamp lithium battery inside. It's not removable. And you'll find the USB-C port on the back of the light behind a rubber door. Just plug in the included charging cable and you're good to go. Fenix does say it only takes a couple hours to charge the light to full capacity. So the light itself weighs around 44 grams. That C-post mounting system is around 18 grams. And the saddle rail mount system is a little less than 18 grams. The BC06R is rated IP66, so it's dustproof and it will take a torrential thunderstorm just fine. Probably wouldn't take it scuba diving. So that is the Fenix BC06R rechargeable bike taillight. So who's this made for? Who should pick this up? So this makes a really good commuter light or a road bike light. It has enough capacity for multiple trips if you're commuting. and all-day rise if you're on a road bike. This is probably not the light you want to pick up if you're doing like a extended trip, like a bike packing or a bike touring trip. The capacity just isn't enough for multiple weeks. The recharging feature is great if you're charging overnight or you're taking a break from riding and getting lunch. But because the charging port is on back of the light, when it's mounted on your bike, there's no way to recharge it. The port is actually covered by the mount itself. But I do think the brake sensing feature is a really cool highlight of the light itself. And the BC06R from Fenix makes an excellent complement on some of the other bike lights that Fenix puts out. Like this. This is their BC06R front light, which is super bright and comes with a very large, high capacity 21700 battery. So there you have it. That's my rundown of the BC06R bike taillight. So what do you think? Do you use this taillight yourself? What features do you look for in a bike taillight? Check out the description of this video below to learn some more information about this bike taillight, including an additional blog post I wrote about it and how to buy the light yourself. Thanks for watching, and until I see you again, long may you range.